Jingle bells, Amaro smells, colony fell to earth. Oh, what fun it is to drop a colony on the earth. Oh, wait, that's the wrong song. What's happening here?
Is that what we're doing, Dallas? We're gonna drop the space station into the planet geekery?
You know, I hear that people are pretty annoyed with that being a trope in anime, so probably not. But it is Christmas.
This is why we can't do fun things, is we worry too much about the tropes.
It's a true story. John, do you know what today is?
Monday?
No, John. It's Saturday. It's Christmas Eve.
Oh. Well, you see, the thing is in space, time is relative. So, I mean, what could be Sunday in Earthican time could possibly be Gluten's Day on the planet Geekery.
Yeah, so we're running off of Central Standard Time and Earthican, and it's Christmas Eve here, and which means we have to present some very special Christmas specials for the children of Site 7, John.
Site 7.
Do it for the children.
Oh, Kevin, I didn't know you were here. You're in the wrong show, bud.
Oh, Kevin. He's still traumatized from G Savior. All right, let's get going.
As you do.
General Romeo coming in, begin transmission. Should you accept it now, here's your mission. Take your pilot seat and turn on your television. Logging into the Gundam Watch. What is a Gundam? We're gonna answer that question. From back in the classics to the newer expansion. Explore the lore with Dallas Moore and Branson. Welcome to the Gundam Watch. Moyagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Machiagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Yamigaeru, come and join the Gundam Watch. Tomeo, Gandamu, come and join the Gundam Watch. Brought to you by Geek Devotions comes another podcast to keep your feet in motion. Listening close and see what's all the commotion. Logging into the Gundam Watch. Dallas and Branson bringing their fandom to you with the passion of the veteran instructing the new. We're diving deep, but this ain't B's views and reviews. Welcome to the Gundam Watch.
Hello, Gundam fans, and those who would like to become Gundam fans. Welcome to the Gundam Watch, a portion of the Geek Devotions podcast network. The show from devoted geeks are devoted to letting you know that you're loved. So, if you want to listen past this moment of this podcast, know this: we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and purpose for your life. This is the portion of Geek Devotions where we talk about mostly Gundam, and we talk about it because we love it and because we're learning about it. And for those of you who've been following, this is the Christmas special. This is the time frame where we are going to present some pitches for Sunrise to do some Christmas Gundam Christmas specials, because that's not a thing that's been done. I take that back. There's one Christmassy Gundam movie, in my opinion, and that was Endless Waltz, which John will get to watch, I don't know, probably 8 months from now.
And if there's anybody out there from Sunrise who's listening that likes the ideas and would like to purchase them from us, feel free to contact us.
Yeah, absolutely. John, are you excited about today?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a hard time committing to that because like I said, I'm still new to this. Oops, just beating my mic here. I'm still new to this, and some of the tropes might be lost to me because the Gundam that I have found myself latching onto, I am told, is very un-Gundam.
Well, it's just, it's very
Undum?
different.
Is Undum a word?
That we're getting into sketchy words now. Now, I want to do this before we get started. I want to give a special shout out to two very cool podcasts that I listen to on a pretty regular basis, and that is Colony Drop and Mobile Suit Breakdown. And I'm giving a shout out to them because they're actually the inspirations behind this episode. Colony Drop for Halloween did it's kind of something similar where they gave their ideas of a Halloween special within the Gundam world. And Mobile Suit Breakdown is a fantastic podcast also that's like they're actually going more chronological through Gundam. Whereas Colony Drop just discusses everything from Gunpla to various animes and movies, and actually they just did a podcast on tropes, Gundam tropes. And but Mosu Breakdown, they did a thing where they were inviting people to send in a like a 3-paragraph idea for a Gundam series. So we're kind of mashing those together, ladies and gentlemen, for today's episode. And but it's all about Christmas because it's Christmas Eve, dagnabbit, and I'm excited.
And I am ambivalent.
Are you one of those ones who get up early for Christmas, or are you just like no?
When I was a kid, I used to get up early for Christmas. Back when there was a reason to. Like, apparently my family's weird because we opened past tense, because now that I'm married, things are all kinds of different. Marriage changes everything, everybody. Just throwing that out there.
It does.
But when I was a kid, we opened our presents on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And then on Christmas morning, that's when we would get the proverbial, without ruining things, the Santa presents.
Yes. So here's a question: did you stay up till midnight to open gifts, or was it like
no?
Just
it was after. It was after dinner.
Okay, so I know in a lot of Latino families, they hang out and party all night until midnight. And at midnight, they open gifts, and then they sleep until 11 o'clock in the morning.
Is that what you did, Dallas? Is that what you're getting at?
No, that's not what I did.
Okay.
So while I do have Latino descent, I grew up in a very Caucasian household. So we did Christmas Eve gift, which was strangely enough normally pajamas, and which years later I discovered was so that mom had made sure we were wearing decent clothes for pictures the next morning. And
that makes sense. I could see MB doing that.
Yeah, and then we'd get up early the next morning, and the Santa gifts would be unwrapped, and all the other gifts would be open, but we all had to take turns. Like there was no like mad dash tear everything open.
Oh, for sure. If you don't take turns, it's just gonna be it's gonna be anarchy.
Yeah, I know families that do that where it's just like a mad dash ripping everything open,
and those families are insane.
They're insane. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys aren't here to hear our stories about our Christmas, although we want to hear about your guys. How do you guys celebrate Christmas?
Are you?
Oh, maybe. So we got a series of stories for you guys. We have Branson submitted a story. Our friend Nathan from the
Monster Island Film Vault.
Yes, and Power Trip, which is a podcast about Power Rangers. He submitted a couple, and then the guys from Colony Drop, Isaac and Brian, submitted their own, and we're super thankful for that. And so let's jump into it. Ladies and gentlemen, our first story comes from the very amazing, the talented, the man who gaslights my gospel, Branson Boykin.
Branson, he is the Boykinist. All right.
He will argue that his father is.
Fair enough. Mr. B is a cool guy.
He is. John, why don't you read Branson's
all right. Pitch. MSG Christmas Special. Ranking place between movie 1 and movie 2.
Of the original Gundam series, probably.
I'm going to assume so. I have not read this, so if anybody hears me stumble over my reading, I do apologize. I am hearing this for the first time, as you are.
Ooh.
The special opens with the young children of White Base playing with a box of old Christmas decorations. Bright, in his usual manner, starts fussing about regulations and protocol. Mirai calms him down, telling him about ancient Earth holiday where they celebrated the birth of a savior of mankind. Sayla and Frabo. Okay. I didn't watch it, so get excited and decide since they're on Earth, they should celebrate the holiday. Mirai loves the idea, and since Bright is too in love with Mirai to say no, he authorizes the celebration. Meanwhile, Amuro, still obsessed with being the best pilot he can be, has no interest in the celebration. Frabo insists that insists he take a break and just enjoy life for the moment, but Amuro will have none of it. He takes the suit out for maneuvers and comes in contact with Ryle's division. A battle ensues in all Gundam glory, and in the battle, White Base is in danger of being destroyed. Amuro, reminded of what Frabo told him about the Christmas holiday, throws himself in front of the oncoming horde. Ryle, impressed by Amuro's bravado, calls him and asks him what he is thinking. Amuro tells him about an old Earth story where hope came to the people that needed it, and likewise will bring hope where he can. Ryle laughs contentedly, calls off the attack, and tells Amuro Merry Christmas.
All right.
And again, I apologize for the start stops there. This is my first time reading it, and there are characters I have no idea who they are.
I get that. I'm going to say this. I'm digging Branson's story. If you guys remember our conversations in episode 1 and 2 of the Gundam Watch, Branson and I both really like the character Rambaral, who is who John was mentioning here. He was John, the Zeon commander, who was like very like gentlemanly and very proper, and somehow he knew the Zabi family. So you need to watch those movies, man. I think you'd find them interesting.
All right. Wow.
All right. So our next story comes from Nathan Orange Thunder Marchand. John has a look on his face. So the Orange Thunder, Nathan messaged me. He goes, "Hey, I found this like Gundam name generator, and for some reason it generated the name Orange Thunder for me." I was like, "That's strange."
Mission accepted. I shall look for this.
What will John have? Find out later in the podcast. So Nathan's story is called "'Twas the Gundam Fight Before Christmas." And this story takes place in the world of Mobile Fighter G, which is the racist Gundam series I've told you guys about, where every country has their own Gundam, and it is the most racist most racist visions of their stuff as you can. Mexico's is the Tequila Gundam. Yes, cacti and a sombrero. And for some reason, there's a horse Gundam too. So this is the world we're dealing with. 4 years have passed since Dalman Koshun won the Gundam Fight tournament and destroyed Devil Gundam. While he's lived peacefully with his wife, Rain, and son, Shinya, he is bound by honor and contract to defend his title, while Rain urges him not to do so for the sake of their family. The ever hard-headed Dalman insists he must represent Neo-Japan's interest. "It's my patriotic duty," he says. Rain reluctantly acquiesces, but Shinya is excited for his father. The tournament is held in December. Domon is met by his fellow Shuffle Alliance members, Chidori and Chitty Crockett, George D. Sand, Saiki, and Argo Golski. Cards on table. I haven't watched G Fighter since like 2004, so I'm jacking up these names. As they reconnected in trash talk, they get wind of a mysterious new Gundam pilot entering the tournament. He claims to represent a North Pole colony. The pilot registry lists him as Nicholas Noel and his mobile weapon as the Reindeer Gundam. As the tournament proceeds, Domon swiftly defeats each opponent with his mighty Burning Gundam. The only true challenges he faces are the pair of his fellow Shuffle Alliance members. Meanwhile, a brawny, white-bearded man pilots the Reindeer Gundam on the other side of the tournament. It quickly decimates opponents with its trademark red nose laser, which is fired from the center of the mech's face, i.e. the nose. With each victory, Nicholas Noel proclaims that he must win for the children of the world. Domon, ever prideful, refuses to back down in the tournament despite objections from Rain. Think of our son, she says. But on fateful Christmas Eve, the champion match is held. Domon Kushu versus Nicholas Noel, the Burning Gundam. At first, proves a match for the Reindeer Gundam. But the tables turn when the Reindeer Gundam unleashes his red nose laser, disabling the Burning Gundam. Nicholas Noel moves in to finish Domon, monologuing about he and his crew of elves must win to gain clearance from all the other countries to deliver gifts to the children for the first time in years. But enraged, Domon finds his shonen-style second win and all but destroys the Reindeer Gundam with a well-placed burning finger. On the verge of winning the tournament, Domon catches a glimpse of his son, Shinya, in the stands. He's crying. As if physically connected, he hears his son mourning that gifts won't be delivered to the world's children. Domon realizes what he's about to do and relents. He whispers to Nicholas Noel to blast him one more time with the red nose laser and win the tournament. A grateful Nicholas does exactly that, becoming the new champion. The next day, Domo and his family find gifts left for them in their house. Domo's is marked, "Thank you." In the distance, they see the Reindeer Gundam pulling a flying sleigh. The end. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to see Red Nose Laser take place.
So I found the while you're reading that, I found the name generator.
Oh yeah,
and it's not to name you, it's to name your Gundam.
Oh, to name your Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and it's a quiz. You have to punch in. You have to make a couple, answer a few questions to get the correct one. Apparently, my Gundam's name is Crimson Poison.
Wow,
that's metal.
Fascinating.
That's a metal name right there. I almost would name a band that.
Send me the link and I'll do it while we're going through these stories. And at the end of the podcast, I'll give you guys the name of my Gundam. So right off the bat, two pretty solid stories. We got one that's pretty well in the world of First Gundam in the UC-79, and then we had the one from G Fighter. I thought they were good. I think they were fun stories so far. What do you think, John?
Yeah, a lot of a bit of creativity going into these, which is always nice to see. You always hate it when something feels like it's phoned in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like these guys are doing a great job. So that being said, next we're going to go to one of the guys at Colony Drops. So, ladies and gentlemen, feast your ears.
And now, direct to you from the minds at Colony Drop, a Gundam podcast, Isaac shall present a very special alternate timeline Christmas jingle which you can animate in your mind's eye. The Gundam Fright before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the Earth sphere, every new type was squirming and quivering with fear. The war had gone a very different way. It seemed like Zeon would now win the day. The white base exploded as the Gundam fell. Every side now became a true living hell. The solar ray fired all through the day as the last Federation fleet was burned away. The nukes went off as the colony cylinders turned, while the people inside shelters screamed and burned. All now came under Zeon rule. Every day would be oppressive and cruel. When out from the stars came a jolly old fellow, who laughed and smiled as he let out a bellow. His sleigh was pulled by a team of reindeer, and as they flew he took away all fear. He turned back the clock and set everything right. In one single night, he took away Zeon's might. Every zombie died as their moose eyes fried. The people of the colonies were so happy they cried. Before he left, he turned to say, I give you a gift on this very special day. Every person is worthy of kindness and love. You best believe that I watch you from above. Appreciate what you have. 'Tis the greatest gift of all. It truly was my pleasure to bring about Zeon's fall. The space fascists are gone. So here ends this song. Cheer and celebrate. We won the good fight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
All right. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I the last thing I would have expected going into this special would be someone writing original poetry. Granted, he borrowed his pentameter from the night before Christmas, but that was still pretty slick.
This is one of the reasons why I like the guys from Colony Drop. They're really creative dudes. Like, I really enjoy their podcast. I think you'd enjoy them.
So what's your Gundam name, Dallas?
I'm still working on that.
Right.
It's not quite done yet. By the time we get done with our next story from Nathan, which I think you're going to read,
that's me.
I should have it for us. So,
all right. Story number 2, The Christmas Truce, written by a friend of the podcast, Nathan Marchand. Robar Strauss leads his squad, the 07th MS team, into battle against Zaku Squad 6, which is led by Kiruen Adaberry on the main continent of Zeon Colony World. The fight has been long and brutal. What Strauss has kept secret from his teammates and commanders is Adaberry is his cousin. The two are extremely close growing up, but Adaberry's family moved into space when they were 17 and joined with the Principality of Zeon. Now they fight on opposite sides, always hoping never to face one another on the battlefield. But now cruel fate has forced them to meet not as family, but as warriors. But as Strauss leads the raid late on December 23rd to retake the small town captured by Adaberry, a radio message is sent to the radios on every mobile suit on both sides. The Earth Federation and the Principality of Zeon have agreed to practice the time-honored tradition of a Christmas time truce. For the next 48 hours, all forces are instructed to cease fire. After a long silence, Strauss ventures forth into the middle of the battlefield in his Gundam, opens his cockpit, and steps out in full view of his enemies. Adaberry's fighters almost shoot Strauss, but he orders them to stop. Adaberry then steps forth in his Zaku, meeting Strauss's Gundam and opening his own cockpit. He exits the cockpit and reaches across the small divide between his mecha and Strauss's, and they shake hands. "Hello, cousin," says Adaberry. "I missed you," replies Strauss. "Me too," says Adaberry. "Care to play Haro Ball like when we were kids?" "I'd love to," says Strauss. "In morning, our fighters need sleep." After much needed but restless sleep, the two bands of pilots meet each other on what was once a contested battlefield to play Haro Ball. For an entire day, they weren't enemies, they were brothers. The Federation and the Zeon no longer mattered. They were friends. Strauss and Adaberry take a break from these festivities and have coffee together. They reminisce about old times and childhood memories. If the politics that separate them are broached, they both scoff at how disgusting the whole war seems. They believe in their causes, but aren't they just pawns for politicians to amass more power? As they look out upon pilots playing Haro Ball, they wonder why every day can't be like this. Suddenly, an abrasive tone shoots through the radios announcing the truce has been broken early. Strauss and Edeberry silently say goodbye and return to their sides' mechs as they each board their mobile suits ready to resume the war. The story ends as their cockpits close.
Yeah.
Wow, that was grim.
So that was a basically a Gundam version of the Christmas Miracle of World War II. Are you familiar with that story?
I am.
So that's what that was. For those of you in the audience who don't know what that is, this was a legitimate moment during World War II where amid trench warfare on Christmas Eve, the two sides just stop for the sake of Christmas and just put their differences to the side and did life together. So I thought it wasn't a bad rendition of that. I thought not near as uplifting as some other ones. So I appreciate that he made such a tonal shift from giant red-nosed lasers to this. Shows range. For those of you wondering what my Gundam name is, Yellow Death.
That sounds like a UTI, bro.
Not really sure what Yellow Death will look like. Oh my gosh. All right, question. What was yours again?
Crimson Poison.
Crimson Poison, and mine was Yellow Death. So here's the challenge for you listeners out there. Draw up or make up AI, whatever you want to do, what our Gundams would look like. And send it to us. You can send it to us to our social media stuff, the Gundam Watch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and let us know. All right. So that being said, we got another story from our buddies at the Colony Drop, and it's a good one. I'm going to pre-warn you this one. John, this takes place in the world of Gundam Crossbone, which is primarily a manga. There is no anime to this.
Okay.
So, but it's a really good one. And I wish it was in an anime. So here we go.
Happy holidays, Gundam Watch listeners. My name is Brian, and I am one of the hosts of Colony Drop, a Gundam podcast. Dallas was kind enough to ask me to contribute to this very Gundam Christmas episode with a pitch of my own. So before we get started, I just want to give you a warning. My pitch does contain spoilers for both the original Crossbone Gundam and the sequel Skull Heart. If you haven't read them, I definitely recommend them. So with that in mind, I invite you to have a very merry Cruxmas. The year is Universal Century 0135. 2 years have passed since Crux Dogady, the supreme leader of the Jupiter Empire, invaded Earth, only to be killed by Barona's band of space pirates claiming to be the Crossbone Vanguard. Crux may be dead, but his iron grip on the Jovian people remains via his successors. Still, Crux's death was a glimmer of hope for those Jovians who dream of a better life, and a rude awakening for all those in the Earth sphere who were previously blind to the Empire's true nature. In fact, that glimmer of hope has grown into unheard-of courage for some Jovians. You see, tonight is Christmas Eve, or as the Jovians were taught, Cruxmas Eve, and a rumor has started amongst the Jovian children that Santa is coming. Whether fueled by a strong Christmas spirit or a painful thirst for water, a small crowd of malnourished and desperate Jovian families have gathered at the abandoned Empire outpost where Santa will supposedly stop, a crime no doubt punishable by death. They wait in silence, fearful that one misstep will draw the Empire's attention. Suddenly, in the distance, a red glow appears, moving swiftly towards them. Their hearts beat out of their chests. But what emerges from the glow turns their fear into joy. It's a mobile suit. A strange-looking one for sure. Definitely not Jovian, much older. The body and arm cannon look vaguely like a Gundam, but the rest of it looks like junk parts scavenged together. The head was particularly odd, like its face was stuck in a tube. But no one cared because the strange head was adorned with a mobile suit-sized white beard and red stocking hat. Santa had arrived. One by one, the Jovians began to notice the mysterious mobile suit was pulling a Jupitrus-class supply container behind it. The container raised their spirits so high they let down their guard and began to cheer. However, those cheers immediately turned to panicked cries as a hail of beam fire flew overhead towards this mysterious mobile suit Santa. From behind the Jovians, a squad of 3 Jupiter Empire Batalas boosted forward from where they had been lying in wait. The Jovians began to flee when the first explosion rocked the sky. 1 Batala had been destroyed. The Jovians looked back in time to see the Mobile Suit Santa fire 2 more monstrous beam shots from its arm cannon, which erased the remaining 2 Batalas from existence. The Jovians cheered. The Mobile Suit Santa pulled the supply container forward, landing it on the outpost. The side was spray painted to read Merry Cruxmas, except Crux was crossed out with a giant X. The Mobile Suit Santa sent out a communication to the Jovians: Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. As quick as he had appeared, the Mobile Suit Santa had returned to the blackness of space. Years later, the children heard a rumor that what they saw that night was known as the Gump, piloted by a man named Gray Stoke. Others heard his name was Judo, a powerful new type who once fought against the forces of Neo Zeon. They could all agree, though, that that night his name was Santa Claus.
So that was the guys from the Colony Drop. If you are familiar with the particular world of Gundam he was dealing with, that was a really pretty cool deep cuts he did, especially when he brought in Judo, who was a character from Gundam Double Zeta, which I can't wait for you to watch, John. I need you to watch more Gundam, like right now.
Bro, there is far too much anime out there that I've been just diving into. So, especially now that I've broken my arm and it's like all I can do is sit on the couch and watch stuff on my TV. So,
Right, I gotcha. I have been diving deep into Gundam Zeta. So
I know you've been kind of throwing stuff up about it on our chats lately. So,
yes. So, but that being said, John, it is now time
is
for
it
you
time
to show us your weeb side.
So after listening to everybody's. I think when I wrote mine, I misunderstood the project, because the more I think about what I wrote, I think I might have actually pitched a series instead of just a single episode. So I apologize for the length on this one. But yeah, and I even have a title for it and have an idea for a follow-up. So the title of my series is called Gundam Salvation. All right. Okay. So there's a mobile suit designer named Josefu who designs mobile suits in a secret location for the Spacian colony Marie A. And he's working on a more advanced design of the G-Savior type. But as he loads the schematics into the foundry, they're barraged with an unknown signal from the ether that alters the foundry AI. The Marie A foundry ends up producing a mobile suit designed no man has created. The suit is different because it is formatted with an AI called Sere. There is no cockpit on this Gundam, which is called Jesu, as Sere operates the Gundam on its own. Jesu claims that it was designed to set them free, and the Spacians assume that it means that they will be delivered from the tyranny of the Earthicans and rejoice in the coming of Jesu. And over the next 33 years, Jesu defends the Spacians from Earthican attacks and creates new mobile suits that rely on a direct he creates new mobile Gundam suits that create a direct neurological link with its pilots called Gundam. However, these Gundams have been tethered to the Sere AI and cannot venture beyond their link to Jesu, or they become inoperable. These Gundams are vastly more superior than any Earthican weapon but because of their tether, they can only be used for defensive measures, as Jesu seems to be hesitant to mount an offensive attack upon Earth. The Earthican force eventually mounts a great offensive strike against the Spacians, utilizing the Kurusefe X weapon, developed by the Sei-10 company, which is headed by man by the name of Louis Seifer. The Kurus FX weapon obliterates Jesu, and the Spatians are enslaved. The Say-10 company then betrays the Earthican forces by unleashing the Sin nanovirus, and Seifer proclaims himself supreme ruler and demands all men bow before him, and all who oppose him shall die under the Sin virus. Over the next 3 days, within the darkness of space, the nanotech that remained of Jesu, driven by Seiray, rebuilds Jesu, and Seiray reformats to version 2.0. Jesu flies to the Say-10 headquarters and transmits Seiray version 2.0 as an EMP, which reformats all mobile suits into Gundams. He announces to humanity that if they want to be saved from the Sin virus, they need to enter a Gundam and receive the Seiray AI in order to destroy the Sin virus and follow as the AI leads. He promises those who do will never die, as the AI will cause the Sin nanotech to become restorative as they are converted to Sukui nanotech. And all who die before he returns to destroy the Say-10 Corp will be revived. He leaves the decision to he leaves the decision to receive Seiray to each individual and leaves to return to the source of the signal that created him. But he promises to return to destroy Say-10 and all who have chosen to align themselves under its rule. This is going to happen in the follow-up series, which is called Gundam Apocalypse.
Very cool, man. Rocked it out, man.
Yeah, I went from basically I started with the Christmas story, and then I was just like, we're just doing the whole New Testament, I guess. I don't
It's basically what you did. The entirety of the thing. That was cool though, man. I liked it. I dig it. I appreciate, like, I could see some of the elements of the influence of Witch from Mercury in there for you.
That's my jam.
That is your Gundam. So and that's what I love about Gundam is everyone has like the one that just gets them in it. I hate people who just gatekeep and like, oh, that's the why is that what you're into? Who cares? You're in Gundam. Roll with it. Cool beans. All right, so mine, I don't have a title for it. John,
Name it now. Name it now. Name it now, Dallas.
I don't know what to call it.
It's your child. Name it.
That's Celeste's job. No, so I don't know. Yeah, I just don't have time for it. We'll read through it and we'll work out a title at the end of it.
The name of this is called Happy Birthday, Jesus.
It is not called that. So this is so this one takes place in UC 86, which is just before the events of Gundam Zeta. And so this is in between First Gundam and Zeta Gundam and Zeta Gundam. So this is the time frame we're at. So this is how it works out. The Earth Federation has been working covertly on cyber new type technology and had managed to produce several low-level test subjects. Unfortunately, these early subjects were mostly unstable and nowhere near as powerful as later cyber new types. For the most part, they died within just a few days. In our story, however, we meet two cyber new types named Mike and Juliet. Somehow, the two of them have managed to survive longer than most other test subjects. To further their testing, they and two Titan soldiers are sent to infiltrate a colony where a dangerous Zeon group is rumored to be planning to cause another devastating colony drop. Once there, Mike and Juliet are amazed by the colony's Christmas decor and general atmosphere. Having had their memories wiped, this was genuinely a new sensation for them. But annoyed by the innocent awe of Mike and Juliet, the Titan soldiers keep scolding them and tell them to stay focused on the mission. As they traverse the city, Mike and Juliet get a strange feeling from a young family. They investigate and discover that they are, in fact, Xeon new types. Over a series of days, they investigate the family, trying to devise who they are in their nefarious plan. But all they see is a small family trying to rebuild in the shadow of the 1-year war. The husband was a Xeon officer at one point, but currently seems to be a simple shopkeeper. Mike and Juliet grow weary of their mission. Their bodies were beginning to break down, and in fact, the mission didn't line up at all. There was no threat here, but the Titan officers insisted that this family was a group of terrorists, so they were instructed to assassinate the family. Reluctantly, they go out to fulfill their mission for the sake of the world. Using their newfound friendship with the family, they were going to sit down with the family and poison them on Christmas Eve dinner. While eating with them, the husband shares his story of reconciliation. He had at one point every intention of fighting back against the Federation, helping Xeon to grow again. But the year prior, his wife gave birth to his twin boys on Christmas Eve. In the quiet of holding his twins, he found himself reflecting on the nativity scene. He had a revelation that Jesus was born a king who came in peace and sought to reconcile all men, not through bigotry and anger, but through hope. He had burned his Xeon uniform and wished to raise his sons in a world where they didn't see Space Noid or Earthen. They just saw people who needed hope. Juliet and Mike's new type abilities swelled, and they felt every bit of emotion and conviction from this man's words. They knew he was speaking the truth. Juliet, crying, ran out of the home, and Mike followed her. They stumbled upon their Titan leaders and found them planting a bomb. This was a setup. The Titans wanted to start a war to solidify their control of the Federation and needed someone to blame. They had used the information gained on the family to prepare documents to blame them for the bombing of the colony. Mike and Juliet fought the Titan officers and defeated them with a simple case of luck. However, the bomb was already set to explode. Wounded significantly, and their bodies failing, they detached the bomb and loaded it into the very Zaku reconnaissance they had used to infiltrate the colony. They loaded the Zaku and attempted to get as far away from the colony as possible. The music begins to swell as Mike and Juliet struggle to stay conscious enough to navigate the colony's inner workings to the airlock. The scene then cuts away to the family gathered around celebrating Christmas Eve and the twins' first birthday. First, you hear the family singing happy birthday. Then you hear the father speaking to his boys. I am so thankful for you two. You two have shown me that there's something more to life than my selfish ambition. I used to fight for Xeon, for the sake of Xeon. Now I fight a different fight. I fight to teach you something better. I fight to teach how to love and care for others. I fight to teach you that everyone, even if they don't look like you, sound like you, or think like you, is your neighbor. I fight to teach you to love your neighbor. Throughout his speech, the scene cuts back and forth between the family and the Zaku, dodging and weaving and to reach the airlock. You hear Mike and Juliet encouraging each other, helping each other to stay on mission. With his final words, the music fades, and you see the Zaku flying out from the colony towards the void of space. You hear the father say, I fight to teach you the same thing that Jesus taught me. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. With those final words, you see a brilliant eruption of light, and in the silence, you see it slowly fade to black.
Dallas busting out the birthday curse.
The birthday curse. If you don't know what the birthday curse is, you need to listen to our podcast on Witch from Mercury.
Or just watch The Witch from Mercury. It's pretty evident.
It's true story. True story. Oh my gosh. So that was our Gundam stories. So, John, what'd you think?
They were very varied from each storyteller. You can definitely get a sense of everybody's personality through the stories that they told.
Right.
I did find it a bit amusing, though. In our previous episode, you had assumed I was going to go the Cthulhu route. And I'm like, bro, I got something relatively wholesome in mind based off of that. Although
And I respect that.
I mean, I could have told a story about how there was a Gundam that had only been piloted by women, so it was a Gundam that knew no man that gave birth to a.
Well, I thought because you said that you're going to go like this Hallmark thing with it because of everything you've been watching with The Witch from Mercury.
No, that's what you assumed. I just leaned into that. So no, I kind of wanted to tell the Jesus story a bit with mine, just because it would never happen in actual Gundam. But I like, I remember growing up. There was a play that was going around called Mary and Joe or something like that. And it was like, it was this concept of like, what if the nativity happened in the US in the 1950s or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And so like, I was started thinking about that, and I was like, well, what if the nativity happened in the Gundam universe? Like
with AI
but I mean, you you gotta put the sci-fi and AI in there.
I got you.
And so, I thought about that, and I thought about, and at first I was just like, I don't want to come across as being sacrilegious or heretical.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started thinking about, like, are you familiar? You're familiar with the rapper KJ52, right?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, the band I was in at the time played a couple shows with opening for him.
No kidding.
When he was touring on his first album called 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
And on 7th Avenue, he has this interlude where he has this progressive interlude that pops in and out throughout the entire album, where he's telling somebody about Jesus, but not telling them about him by name, but basically talking about him as if he was this DJ. I'm not DJ, but this MC that rolled with a posse of 12 other guys, and just all that sort of stuff, and basically was telling the story of Jesus, except as an MC. And I was just like, well, no, you can convey the message of Christ through allegory in these things, and you don't have to hit every single point as long as you get the main messaging right. And so that was really what drove the story that I was writing. And I let Branson read it, and he seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. And Branson, I'm sorry, I went looking to see if it was possible to pitch it to make a Christian manga out of it, and both my comic book friends, Ben Avery and JS Earl, said no, Christian publishers don't take pitches from unknown sources like that. I'm like, all right, because Branson really wanted me to pitch that for a manga series. So
oh man, that's terrible. Well, I thought you did a good job, man. Again, it had a lot of the elements to it, and
I can't get over the fact that you incorporated the birthday curse in yours. That almost sounds like you wrote that story around the birthday curse.
I did it all. It was just a matter of like I needed something to ground the man to the day, and have that conversation about seeing the world differently. Like when I pictured this, when I was writing this, I was picturing this as kind of like an hour special. Really like as a prelude almost to Zeta. There were a lot of things I wanted to include into this that would have had call outs to like double Zeta and into Char's attack, almost as like a prelude to like some of the new type abilities you see later. I was like, no, I don't want to go that deep into it. I want to make this like groundwork early, like the Titans are really just playing around with this new type stuff, and because it's terrible, man, what they do to new types, or the cyber new types rather. And they, to me, they are like the most tragic, they're one of the most tragic casualties of the whole war that takes place here. And so that's the reason why I did that, was I needed to ground the man into that moment and have him have a moment of understanding of what's happening. Because I like that. I like stories where there's a moment where a potential protagonist realizes, man, I have to walk away from this for like good reasons.
Now, did you I got to ask the question here. Did you realize that you utilized the birthday curse before I pointed it out to you? Or
I didn't.
Oh no.
I didn't at all. And to be fair, the birthday curse wasn't on the kids. It was on Mike and Juliet.
Well, yeah. But I mean, in the prologue on The Witch from Mercury, it was the little girl's birthday that they sang happy birthday to. So I mean, it's not the person whose birthday it is. It's just birthdays are bad juju for everybody involved. So someone's going to die on someone's birthday. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I did not plan that. It just kind of happened. So, but yeah, so, but I put a lot of thought into it. More thought than I probably should have. Like, so in Zeta,
it's easy to let yourself go. That was the biggest thing that I noticed, because I was trying to focus mostly, like when I first started writing, I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on the nativity. And then I went through the entire story of salvation, and I'm like, that was unintentional, but it's just like, and I thought about it. I'm like, no, I like this too much just to scrap it and rewrite it. Plus at that time, my arm and hand were hurting from typing. And it's just like, this is what you're getting, Dallas. So
you did good. You did good. So, well, Gundam fans and those who like to be, what did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy the stories? Let us know. Which one was your favorite story that you heard? Do us a favor and please reach out to the Calling Drop, those guys, which you can find their podcast on most podcast catchers. But if you go to their you can find their RSS feed via their Podbean account, which is colonydrop.podbean.com. But follow them and check out everything they do. They're great guys. And then also, because again, they were part of the inspiration of it, Mobile Suit Breakdown. Again, fantastic series of conversations they do. They've covered everything from First Gundam through Zeta, Double Zeta, Char's Counterattack, War and Pocket, which was amazing. SD Gundam, and currently they're talking about F91, which is one of those movies that I have a love-hate relationship with, and it's really fun listening to them talk about it and them answering my questions I've had for years about it. So make sure you guys check them out. You can find Mobile Suit Breakdown at GundamPodcast.com, which that's a great URL. You guys rock that one out. But reach out to them, let them know that you got to them through our podcast if you could. John, you got anything you want to promote before we sign off?
Oh, well, as always, you can find my link tree in the show descriptions. The two things I am going to promote today, I DM on a D&D actual play podcast called Playing Games with Strangers. There you can hear me and 6 other voice actors and 5 other voice actors and 1 author act like little weirdos while we play D&D. Also want to promote another Geek Devotions podcast called We Read Allegedly. We are putting together a episode for Mechmas that is going to be on the novelization of Pacific Rim. And we have opinions across the board on that book.
I've heard.
One of us, and I'm not going to say names here, it disliked it so much they couldn't bring themselves to finish it. So, whereas other people loved it. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I heard. So if you guys want to hear, make sure you check out We Read Allegedly on your favorite podcast catcher. If you want to get a hold of me, hey, check out geekdevotions.com where you'll find all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Geek Devotions. Either Celeste or I will respond to you pretty quickly. But check it out. You'll find this podcast, The Bottom Shelf, which you guys have heard some previews of this past month with our review of G-Savior and Robot Jocks.
We haven't. Oh, yeah, we did put out G-Savior this week.
Yep.
Never mind.
And also, but that one, this podcast, our main podcast feed, Calm Talk by Geek Devotions. Of course, every Friday on YouTube, Geek Devotions puts out a video that's designed to encourage people and let them know they're loved and they're cared for through geek culture. So make sure you guys check that out, Geek Devotions. I think I've said that enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted.
Peace and love, and don't watch G-Savior. It's terrible.